Hello everyone, welcome to another My 2015 tutorial, the Catapult project we've been working on. Um, so we finished with the winch here, and we got these wheels here, we got the axle for the winch. Now we just need to create some pegs that are going to go around the axis here. So we're going to go ahead and create ourselves another cylinder. Now we don't necessarily need to um, create two different cylinders going around here. So let's just actually borrow from the axle here. So I'm going to go Control D, duplicate this axle here, and I'm going to uh, scale it down quite a bit so that it'll fit in here. And then I'll scale it here so that it fits inside these spokes. There we go. Now I need to change the pivot point right now. I'm going to change it from right here. I'm going to move it down to this center vertex like I did with the other stuff so I can populate this spoke all the way around. So I'll hold down D and V, and I'll vertex snap it down there to the center here. That's not the center. I believe that's the center point. Yep, that's it. Okay, so now I should be able to run duplicate special. It should just be able to take care of it for us since it was set up for the same thing over here. I think that I had it set up for 12 though, so I'll probably want to set it to 11. But let's go ahead and go edit, duplicate special. Oops. Duplicate special, and let's go ahead and change it to 11 instances instead of 12. Okay, there we go. Populated that area. Now I just need to create some spokes that are going to go in between here. And I could create myself another cylinder and texture it, but just for time's sake, I'm actually just going to grab this winch axle here. I'm just going to duplicate that guy out as well. I'm just going to bring it up here. I'm going to rotate it. Oops. Looks like, let's try 180. There we go. And a Z, and then we'll scale this down. Alright, need to rotate it a little bit so it looks like it fits between these guys. There we go. Looks like it needs to be scaled a little bit more. Not quite there yet. Okay, so that looks about right. Okay, so now I need to do the same thing I did before. I need to change the pivot point here. I need to hold down D and V again. I'll just vertex snap it until it gets to that center vertex here. That looks about right. Let's go ahead and run duplicate special again. There we go. That looks good. Okay. Now we need to create the crank handle. So I'm going to actually create a cube for that. I could use one of these, but since they're beveled, the bevels might throw some of the stuff off when I'm initially shaping it. I could, well, let's go ahead and give it a try anyways. We'll just go ahead and grab one of these, duplicate it, bring it off to the side, and just see if we can manipulate it around. You don't need this handle to be super complicated. Just needs a little bit of curvature to it. Okay. There we go. So let's turn on to relative distance. And turn off insert with edge flow. There we go. Scale this apart like so. Use one more over here. G, repeat last command. And G over here. Now I need to go to vertex mode. I'm going to grab all the vertexes, including the bevel, and push it back slightly. Oh, actually, now I think about it, I do need a couple more edge loops running this way, so they'll retain that shape as I round off the corners. There we go. Now I go back to vertex mode and shape some of this here. Just kind of round this off. Oops, looks like I missed one. Okay, that looks right. Okay. Okay, I think that looks good. I'm going to leave that as is. Well, looks like I missed the bottom ones here. Let's go ahead and fix that. Grab these corners here and just translate them back. There we go. That's one thing I was afraid of when I was going to be working with the bevels, is that there's lots of edges where they're not necessarily all lined up. I think you have everything necessarily, and you don't. Okay. Let's scale this guy here down a little bit. Rotate it. 90 degrees in the Z. Now I'll just translate it over to a winch here. So this looks like there's going to be a kind of like an arm here that you can grab and kind of crank and turn this catapult down. Again, I'm going to borrow one of these axles again. I could use one of the duplicate specials ones, but I'm just going to use this instead. I want to manipulate it a little bit. There we go. Just delete off the back end there. Scale it down. Now let's set it in the pivot on it. Scale it down. Translate it down. Okay, I need this guy to go through this guy, but I need to be locked onto this center, so I'll isolate the two of them so that I can vertex snap this one here. That looks like that's the center. Yep. Okay. Unisolate, and I can bring this back out. Okay, so now it looks like this is kind of like a giant bolt that goes through this beam here. That looks good. Now I just need to duplicate this one more time, and I'm going to translate it out, and this thing's going to be kind of like a handhold for whoever's going to turn this winch assembly. And we'll scale it out more. There we go. Okay. I know if anyone's like looking at this, you'd be like, obviously, like there could be some things you could pick apart here. Like we have this beam here that we can fix. I mean, this wheel here is going through the beam, so I can just grab this beam here. Instead of having it there, I can just translate them both in. There we go. So now this wheel here isn't biting through this at all. It is kind of biting through these bottom beams here, though. And I guess I could kind of sink that one down a little bit, see if that works. Okay, yeah, I guess that works. Alright, and if we want to be a little bit more sticklerish, we can also kind of look at our rear axles here. They need to be a little wider so it can allow this winch arm to be able to spin past it. So we'll just push this out just a little bit, and then alright, that should allow the winch arm now to turn freely. Okay. Alright, so I'm pretty much almost done with the winches. All I gotta do is just duplicate what's over here and bring it over there. And since we've been through this project, I think that you guys are starting to get the idea of how this is working. So I'm just going to select all this stuff here. Not that, not that, not that. I'm going to combine them. So I'll go to Mesh, Combine, Center Pivot, Freeze Transformations, and then I'm going to change the pivot point to where it's locked onto here, because it might be thrown off because of this stuff sticking off to the side here. So I'll hold down D and V and make sure it's locked down to its vertex right there. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to well, let's delete the history too. There we go. So now I'm going to duplicate this guy. So I'll hit Control D, Control G, and -1 the X scale again. That pops it over to the other side for us. Okay, that's perfect. Now, let's say I wanted this just to be a little bit different than the other one. So like when one person's pulling the other way, the other person's just coming around, so they're countersynced. Alright, we'll select all these three components here, and again we'll run mesh combined. Now let's say like you accidentally combine something you didn't mean to, or you want to change them later on. You can always go to mesh separate. That brings all the pieces apart again. So don't think that just because you combine them that there's nothing you can do to undo them. So again, mesh combine, delete history, freeze transformations, center pivot, and I'll call this one mesh winch. Okay. Alright, so the winch is done. Very good. Now we need to create the catapult arm for our catapult. So we're going to use a cube for that. So we're going to create ourselves a new cube, create polygon primitives, cube. Okay, let's translate that up. We'll scale it out a little bit, and maybe a little bit longer. Okay, go out a little bit wide on it. Maybe not quite that wide. All right. Now we're going to drop in some geometry. So we're going to use our Insert Edge Loop tool again. So activate my Insert Edge Loop tool. Open up the submenu here. I'm going to put in, let's say, not with edge flow, multiple loops though. And we'll put in, let's say, 3. Okay. And let's put in at least 10 going this way. All right. You can put in more if you want. The idea is that having more geometry allows this catapult arm to bend and look natural as it's getting more tension on it before it launches. So that's what I'm going with on this. Okay, so I'm done here. Close out my Insert Edge Loop tool. Got object mode here, and let's go to our isolate. Go to vertex mode here. Turn on soft select, and I'm gonna knock it down from 50 to let's see what 10 looks like. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm just selecting the side ones here and just moving them in. Okay, so that looks okay. You'll make the bottom just a little bit wider. Okay. And we'll turn symmetry back off, and we'll turn soft select back off. Okay. Got object mode. Now I'm going to want to work on this thing symmetrically. So I'm going to just go ahead and delete off half of this and go to face mode. Just, well, delete. Good. Got a few extras in here that I need to get rid of. I could have done this orthographically, and that probably would have been the smarter move, but this will still get it done. Delete. Get that one too. Okay. Excellent. Alright, doing good. Going to create kind of like a knuckle for the top of it. So I'm going to first I'm going to extrude this one out a little bit. So I'll go to extrude, and I'll pull this out and extrude top and bottom. Hit G for repeat last command, and I'll just pull this up, Q, and we're going to select these faces here, not the top ones, or the bottom ones, just the side ones here. And I'll hit extrude again. I'll just pull this off to the side a little bit. Okay. I think I might pull this a little bit too high. This is all aesthetic, so you know, if you guys, once it comes down to what you want this to look like, it will be more up to you. But that'll look good to me. Alright. I'm going to check my line here. Well, and I'm also going to address something else that will trip you up if you aren't aware of it. What we're going to do here, since I deleted off half of this, I'm going to mirror over the catapult this side over here. But we need to get rid of these interfaces here. We don't want these when we mirror. It will have some problems. Okay. Oops. Let's accidentally delete the bottom piece there. There we go. Go to edge mode, select the entire edge loop, and I want to run my scale function so I can make sure that line is completely straight. Okay, that's good. Alright, so now I'm going to extrude out the first beam. That's going to be the part of the catapult netting, so I'll hit extrude, scale function, scale this in a little bit, scale this part here in a little bit, and I'll hit G. Bring this out. I want to add a little interest, having some wood ribbing that goes around this, so I'll hit G. G again, bring it out, G again, scale it back in. This part's a little more tricky because you're trying to make it to where it hit G again, to where it's about the same thickness every time you create the new ribbing. Okay, that looks decent. Let's go ahead and hit G. This is going to create the knuckle. Okay. Hit G again. That will. There's our knuckle, and I'm going to go ahead and extrude this out this way a little bit, and then I'm going to hit G again. I'm going to scale it back down to about the same thickness as the beams were before over here. Again, it's just kind of eyeballing at this point. Okay, hit G again, bring this out. Hit G, make another little rib. G again, bring it out, hit G again, scale it in, okay, and hit G again, and this is close to the end here. And about here, hit G again, and we'll go here, and we're just going to scale it out kind of a little bit wider. There we go. That should be good enough. Okay, so now to mirror this guy, we're going to go to Edit Mesh, or I'm sorry, underneath Mesh, there's one that says Mirror Geometry. And I'm going to open the submenu on this guy. And across the X-axis, we hit Apply. That automatically pops it in there. Now, if it didn't pop right in there where it is right now, either A, you're going to change your axis in the submenu to where that is where it needs to be. If it's completely like overlapping, just not where it needs to be at all, you might want to look over in underneath Polymirror. Usually the pivot X, if it gets a value somehow popped in there, sometimes that happens. Just zero that out, and then we'll put it back where it needs to be. Okay, so we're getting close here. Let's go ahead and unisolate this guy. We'll hit W to translate. We'll see what we got here. Okay, that actually looks pretty decent. We can always adjust this afterwards. Like, let's say that I feel that this action needs to be longer. I can always just grab these vertexes and just translate this a little bit out a little bit so I can make some room for the netting that's going to go in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some texture to this before the video is over. So again, we're going to jump into our hypershade, assign it to our UV texture map, and then we're going to jump into our UV texture editor. Panels, panel, UV texture editor. Oh, I did forget to lay out UVs, so go ahead and create some of those really quick. Create UVs, auto map. That's not a good auto map. Let's go ahead and fix that a little bit. Okay, that looks a little better. Okay. Let's go ahead and take all these UVs out of here. There's a lot of little pieces because of all those little details we made, but I'm going to go for the bigger pieces what I'm after. So I'm going to go to shell. I'm going to grab this shell here. I do, well, actually it's the whole piece there. That is what I was after. Let's go ahead and bring this over to the dark wood. I do like the idea of using that. So let's scale that up. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab this one over here too. Okay. Now the rest of these pieces, well, actually I'm going to get the length of this guy in here. The other pieces doesn't really matter so much as far as the wood angle goes, I don't believe. I'm just going to go ahead and slop some of it in there and just see how that all looks. Let's grab a bunch of it, just translate it in there. Go ahead and take a look at it. If it doesn't look right, then I'll pull it out. But no, that looks good. That looks good. Okay, so let's go ahead and just grab the next batch and just toss those all in there. Okay, grab those, bring those in. Alright, last one. Okay, so let's see what we got here. See if there's anything that looks just completely out of place. The only thing that might look wrong is these two faces here. Should be rotated. Everything else looks okay. These ones here probably as well. Okay, so let's just fix those two little pieces. I think that's all I'm going to need to fix. UV texture editor. Go to shell. Just find that one shell there. Okay, and I'll just rotate that one. There we go. Go over here and just move it to a different spot. Rotate it. Okay, that's good. Do the same thing with this one over here. That'll do. If this is for production, I would probably go through and make sure that everything here is very seamless and all the textures were very even. But for the use of this video, I think that works just fine. This looks pretty decent. Okay, so I think this is where we're going to probably stop it for this video. Almost. I'm going to do one more thing and then we're going to call it here. So first I'm going to move the pivot point from here down to here. So D and B. Let's go ahead and just drop it right down here to the center here. And let's move it down just a little bit. So now when I rotate this guy, it rotates based on this bottom piece down here. I might want to move it in just a little bit. This will eventually be based off the axle rotation, but the axle is going to kind of puncture through right in here. Okay, so that makes sense. Let's go ahead and bring this down where it's going to be mounted. Right in here. Okay, but I haven't done the netting yet, so I can't actually freeze the transformations right there. But I can go through and delete the history and call this mesh catapult. Alright. Eventually I'll freeze the transforms when I get the rotation value correct in there. But for right now, this is looking pretty decent. I think this is a good stopping point. In the next lesson, we'll go through and finish the netting in our catapult, and we'll set up our mounting brackets and brace for when this thing rotates back, it braces against this cross beam we'll create. And then we'll be done with the modeling stage of this project. We'll jump right into the animation stage. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.